fall. Say you stand by your man and tell me something I don't understand. You said you love me, and that's a fact, and then you left me.
Hello there, Tony Medley once again, and welcome back to my workshop. Today's project, I've been asked to make an urn. I lost a good friend to COVID, and his widow, which is also a very good friend of mine, has asked me to make an urn. So what I've done a bit of research into it, and as far as I'm aware, or the information that I've got, is that for his body weight and the size of him, we will need 2.55 litres. So what I intend to do, I've got some lovely oak. I'm going to make a base as normal. I'm going to glue a chuck and point onto it, and exactly the same for the lid. And what I'm going to do, I've made some wide segment bar. Now I normally, you've seen my videos, I normally only make it about 1 3/4 inches, 1.5 inches maximum, but because I'm unsure of the amount of that I'll have to take off, I thought I'd better make it wider, and then I can just hollow out until I get the desired volume of the urn. So as far as I'm aware, or my plan is, I'm going to make it in oak with very, very small flecks of sapele, because I don't want it too fancy, because I think, with it being an urn, so there's only going to be about 2 to 3 millimeters of sapele in it, but it's got a lovely grain to it. So what I intend to do is make the segments and very, very small flecks of sapele, and then glue it all together. What I'm intending to do is make 6 inches on the bottom, and then going up to 10 inches, which gives it a nice uniform shape, and then a lid also 6 inches on the top, because I've also ordered a plaque to go on the top, a memorial plaque to go on the top, so that needs to be at least 4. So if I make a 6 inches for the lid, then it'll give us 1 inch either side, so the plaque itself is 4x2. So I'm waiting for that to come. So without any further ado, what we'll get on. All I'm going to do with these, I'm going to glue a chuck and point onto it. Obviously find the centre, glue a chuck and point onto it, and then I'll take that down to approximately 6 inches, and then I'll build all the rings up. And I'm not going to bore you with making the rings after rings, so all I'm going to do, I'll show you in detail how I make one ring, and then I'll just show you, once they're all made, how I'll glue them all together and then fit in the lid. So without further ado, we'll get on with it, and we'll get into the lathe. A couple of things that people ask me is, I always end up with a gap when I make a segmented ring, and the most important things, what will alleviate that, is making sure that this jig itself is put in, and it has to be absolutely 100%. Because if you imagine, if you just 0.1 of a millimetre, which is nothing, by the time you've got 12 segments, that would, if my maths is right, you'd end up with a gap of 1.02 at the end of it. So you can't live with that. And what you have to do is just make sure that all you're doing with the segment is replicating the physical wedgie or triangle, whatever. So we're doing a 12 segmented ring on this one, and all I'm going to do is put a little fleck inside of that. So remember to allow for that when you do your calculations on the size. And all I do for size on this one, when you're doing the calculations for the circumference of the ring that you want, this particular one I'm doing now is 700 millimeters. I want the circumference of the ring itself. Now, because I'm putting, these are 3 millimeters wide, so 12 of them is 40 millimeters. So 700 millimeters divided by 12 minus the 40 equals 55 millimeters along the long side. Also, what we've got to note, and I say this every time, and I'm sure that you all take note of it, is when you've got your batten, it must be nice and parallel, so that's the same length. It has to be flat and the same thickness. And what you must do is just put a wiggly line along the top, and it'll become apparent when I video me putting it up, and a straight line along the side that faces you. And then we're ready to do the cutting. And what we do, just move them out the way, we make the first cut on the top one, the second cut on the bottom one, and that gives you the first segment, and then the third cut back on the top one, and the fourth cut back on the bottom one, and you do that until you get your 12 segments. What I forgot to say before I started segmenting, because you can't have a guard on that blade when you're segmenting, please take extra care, because I'm sure, and I don't want to ever find out, that will do some serious damage to your fingers or your hand. So keep well away from the blade, keep your hands on the segmenting stick itself, and then obviously things should work out fine. Well, after you've cut the 12, what you're going to end up is 6 with them on the long side, with the marks on the long side, and then 6, oh, trust me, 6 without anything on the back, and on the mark is on the front. And obviously what we need to make the segmented ring up is 12 of the little flecks of the Sapele mahogany to set it off. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to clean it up. What I'm going to do is, while I'm talking, what you're having to do is clean that face up there, because that's exactly the right size, it's the angle. So just scrape it just to take the little fuzzies off on the side, but don't do it like that, because it will alter the crucial angle of the wedgie itself, or the segment, should I say. So I'm going to clean all these up and then put them into piles, and then we'll do a dry run on a ring. I always find it best if we do a dry run, just to make sure that it's going to fit together. I've always done that. So what we want is a one with the line on the back, 2 pieces of mahogany, 2 pieces with no line on the back, and you carry on like that until you make the complete ring up, making sure that you've got the wiggly line on the top. So we've got them all together, and all we're going to do now is put two Jubilee clips that I've put together, and then just tighten them up, and then just make sure and then we know this is only a dry one, but just make sure that they're all together, all pushed out towards the ring. And there we have a perfect ring, and as you can see there is no gaps. I'll just nip it up, there's a small gap there. There we go, it's not the perfect circle, but it's okay because you're going to turn it to round. So that's the most important part, making sure that there is no gaps whatsoever. So we'll glue that up now. Well, it's now time to glue it up, and I've always found it easiest to put some cling film down, and then it saves all the cleaning up after. So just get your segment and make sure that it gets a good covering of glue. And then obviously place it on, and when you put the little bit of Sapele on, if you just give it a massaging in and then continue on with the segments, I find that the best and easiest way to do it. Then obviously a little bit more massaging in. Then hopefully when it's all glued up you will end up with no gaps whatsoever. You can see hopefully that once we get it off and then get that, it's only going to go to about there, so hopefully there should be no gaps whatsoever. Well, I've been a busy boy and I've done 9 rings, and now what I intend to do now is glue, say, the first 3 or 4 to the base, and the rest obviously glue together, and then I can get a nice shape to it. So that's the physical rings that I'm making. So that's the base, and what my intention is to glue the first 3 to it and then start the shape off.